Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. It's the end of the Loki, sorta.
The end of time?
The end of time.
We're
we're all that remains.
We're all that remains, and all that remains is Kang. I'm Dub. I'm here with Blythe. I'm here with Michelle. I'm here with Courtney. How y'all doing today? We have a lot to talk about.
We do.
This is the final episode of what we find out is just this season of Loki. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, let's hear what your guys' initial thoughts are to Loki. I know that there's a lot of split thinking of how it went, so I would like to hear what y'all thinking. I know let's go with our biggest Kool-Aid drinker, Blythe.
I think that this episode, I can see why the fan base is split on this. You have people who are disappointed in it because it's not the ending that they foresaw, and this is a true prequel to what is coming in the MCU going forward, and I think that it's not a satisfying ending that people would have liked.
I could agree with that. Michelle, what was your thoughts on this episode?
It was kind of lackluster for me in the beginning, just sort of, okay. I really, really liked how it ended. I know people are complaining about it, but get over it. It's not that bad.
Wow.
I'm in a mood today. Because everyone's complaining. There's so many people, complaining about how things were portrayed and all that, but without really looking at the big picture of what's going on. You can't do that with this series.
Courtney, what about you?
I enjoyed it, but I was one of the ones that's complaining, so I'm one of the ones that needs to get over it, like Michelle said.
Get over it.
I enjoyed it, but I was disappointed in some aspects is the best way of saying it. But I'm not saying I hated it, and I'm not going to complain about it, because all I'm just saying is I was disappointed in some aspects of it.
Fair enough.
I thought the twist at the end, which we will get to, one, I saw it coming, but I thought it was done very well.
Yeah. Very good.
So.
Okay, for me, I haven't rated a single episode of Loki lower than an A-. I have loved everything. And I even liked the beginning of this. Towards the end, you saw, okay, they're giving us a bunch of new stuff and they're not going to resolve anything. And you could just feel that. And I'm like, It was just kind of, I felt like this was the episode before the finale and not the finale. And the other, I know we don't compare, but the other Marvel shows didn't really do that to us. It gave us more of a conclusion.
And I think that's because this is supposed to be a prequel for everything that's coming. And it's very hard. I can 100% understand where you're coming from, Dub, and where you're coming from, Courtney. And I think that was the problem that we kind of talked about before these shows came out, is how do you separate show from movie, especially with at this point, it's a huge audience. And now you're dipping in the territory of there's going to be some people who have seen the shows and not the movies, and some people who've seen the movies and not the shows, and what that means for each one of them going forward, because now you're going to upset half of your fan base, really.
Yeah, I think the other thing is you could tell from the onset that this was going to be a multi-season series. Like, it was not a surprise, at least to me, that we're getting a season 2. Because it's pretty much set up that way from the get-go. With WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're meant to be one-offs. Although I will bet you all that we're going to get a season 2 of WandaVision.
I don't know how, but it'd be cool.
Simply because of all of the Emmy nominations they received just recently.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that. But yeah, I think that's part of it is because this one has always clearly been set up to be a multi-season show, where the other ones were just one-offs. They're supposed to be one-offs.
That's fair.
Taking that into account, though, if people actually think about that, it would make sense that this series isn't going to give you this hugely satisfying ending at this point.
But it didn't give you any, I felt like.
It did, though.
It did, but it's not. I think if people went into this looking at it as this is it, this is going to be like the big, and I think I'm kind of guilty of that too. I thought there was going to be some massive thing at the end, but then I just kind of thought, hey, probably not, because we're not done. Like, this isn't.
Do you think the root of why you don't think it had an ending is because there wasn't like a battle, like there wasn't a fight between Kang and them?
I don't think
it was
so.
Exposition and then just resolution, because
there hasn't been a single good fight in this entire series, so I wasn't expecting one. Yeah, that's that was a negative we've talked about with the show before.
Yeah, no, I was just reflecting.
But it's definitely, it felt like this is a cliffhanger for next week, not a cliffhanger for next season.
I feel like it is.
Well, it is. I mean, it definitely is. But that's just what it feels like.
You have no choice, but no, I kind of felt like it was.
And I'm not complaining. Again, we're getting comic book movies that are, going deeper into the lore and all that, and I'm happy. I love it.
Yeah.
But I can also say when things aren't making me as happy as I want them to. And honestly, I'm a pretty easy target as far as these comic book movies. I mean, I love almost all of them. There's a few I don't like, and I'm very vocal about them, but I'm not a hard person to make happy. And this one, I don't know what it was. It just, I finished. I'm like, the Kang thing, that was cool. Yes, I was right. Yay. But
everyone was right.
I know. But with that being said, I didn't feel like, I wasn't excited afterwards. And every other one of these shows, and every episode of Loki, at the end of it, I've been jumping up and down excited.
I just don't, for you, especially for you. You messaged me that morning saying that you needed somebody to talk to about the thing, and I went in thinking you were super stoked. And when I got to the end, I thought that was why you were stoked, because of what this means. I mean, we knew it was coming. Yeah. We knew what was going to happen. We thought it happened with what Sylvie did in episode, 3 or 4, when she dropped everything. Mm-hmm. But like we talked about in the previous episode, when I brought up, like, did she actually do it, or did they clean it up? Which it seems that they did clean it up, and then it happened anyway.
Yeah.
But we're talking the multiverse here, and from the rumors that and again, like, I was 100% like with my pretend dub being like, we're doing multiverse, we're doing multiple Spider-Mans in a movie, we're doing all this stuff, and then you're like, I wasn't into it. And I was like,
And I love the multiverse. That is my thing. But we've known about it. They didn't give you really is it going to happen, or is it? I mean, you knew from episode 2, I believe. You knew we're getting the multiverse. They have confirmed it. Yes. And then, So again, this is probably more my problem than anybody, but I wanted to be happier with this than I was. Again, I didn't hate it. I didn't even dislike it.
Sure.
But I wanted to like it more.
Yeah. I don't think it's you at all. I think that it's really a split of the fan base right now. I think a lot of people are feeling the exact same way that you're feeling.
And there's some confusion for some of the things that I'm reading, but we'll get to that as we go through as far as who really is King and all that. We all know. He says, I'm the Conqueror, but we'll get to that. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's start with the intro. Scene 1. We get a bunch of famous and not so famous quotes throughout the timeline, which honestly I wouldn't have even brought up, except they changed something on it. And I don't know if you guys looked, because I actually watched it with the subtitles on. And remember when Tony says, you have an army? Well, we have a Hulk. On the subtitle, Loki says it.
He
because
says it
Loki
in
says it in
Infinity
Infinity War.
Did he say it in Infinity War? Okay, well then never mind.
Yeah, he says it to Thanos. He says we have a
I
Hulk.
didn't need to mention this at all. Let's go to scene.
Well, no, because I think everything that was done in that credit scene is deliberate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just because usually we see just the heroes racing by, but the fact that we're hearing pieces of our timeline that we know is going to be broken at the end of this thing.
Yep.
It was a brilliant touch.
It was different. It was different and it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. It's saying that this was your universe before. We're done with that. We're gonna submarine the whole thing. Yep.
So get ready.
The whole thing is gonna be new.
So we're gonna take away everything that you love. No, I'm just kidding.
A little bit.
Marvel is good at dishing out the pain, so here it comes.
Yeah. Now, okay, so on to scene 2. Going into the ivory tower. No, it wasn't the ivory tower. I thought that was clever.
The Citadel of Ricks.
The door opens with Miss Minutes, and this pleases me. So she is the number 2. So we were kind of right on that. Actually, I thought she was right below Ravonna, but no, she's the number 2. I don't know if she is multiverse Miss Minutes, but I love Miss Minutes and it makes me happy and I want to buy all the toys. What did you guys think about how she handled even going on to the next scene, we could hit that just a little bit with this because I think it's important that she's doing her thing and she's in one time, even though she's with Kang. She has to actually wait to go to the TVA later, which I think is really interesting because everything is in real time. There's no time jump anymore. Did anybody else catch that, or is that just a me thing?
There's 2 things about that scene that I noticed. The figures, when they're walking in, the hooded figures, if you stop it just right, their faces are clock faces underneath the hoods.
Really? No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're underneath the hoods, they're clock faces. But the other thing is, and for a minute they had me because they said she refers to him as he who remains,
Mm-hmm.
which comic book guys will know is an entirely different character.
Yeah.
Not Kang. I'm like, wait a minute, this whole thing is set up and we're getting he
I
who
was
remains.
mad when they said that too.
I was like, really? I almost sent a Marco out. Like, is this it? Really? And then they open the doors and I'm like, oh, okay, never mind.
Okay,
But
so tell me then. Okay, so maybe this explains the uprising that I've been seeing online today. So if that's the case, then I take back part of what I said earlier. You guys don't have to get over it. So if that's if that's the case, what character then were people expecting, or I guess explain to me what you mean.
Okay. This is my understanding of He Who Remains. And I actually tried to explain this, I think, episode 2. There was a being at the very end of the timeline, and it's He Who Remains. And he was the one that's trying to get the timelines to be that timeline, because that's the only way he stays in existence for that long, because he is the end of it all. He's
a clone alien.
Yeah,
that
he's the end. He's the last one.
As a very, very old man.
Yeah,
he's exactly what Kang is. He's exactly what this version of Kang did and is. He's just not Kang.
They basically took the 2 characters and they made them one. And I'm okay with it because honestly, that's just more convolution you don't need.
Yeah, again with your fan base being of people who are watching it hardcore and then people who are just watching bits and pieces of it.
It's still a pretty deep cut.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and they take liberties like that anyway, right? I mean, it's not. Yeah. It doesn't follow the comic books perfectly. They kind of.
And I know that there's two major websites. I'm not going to say which ones, but there's 2 major websites out there. They both say something entirely different. It goes, no, it's not King. This is the man who remains. And then the other one says, no, it's not. This is King. And I'm like, no, it's both of them.
Both. Yeah.
They're both, obviously.
But it's more King because let's be honest, that's who we've been building everything up to.
Well, and I mean, the thing is up into the point where he opens the doors and walks out and we see him, we all believe it's He Who Remains. And for those who don't realize that that's the actor they've cast as Kang,
then it's your fault.
it probably took a little bit of time to figure out who he was, maybe even to the Conqueror line, because he says some people call me a conqueror. So I mean, he tells us who he is.
Yeah.
But
and some people call him Maurice.
If you don't know, he is really kind of like a space cowboy if you think about it.
A little bit.
If you don't know who the actor is, and you don't know that he's already been cast as Kang, you're not going to know it's Kang until you get farther into the show.
And you know what? If you're a hardcore
I can get
fan,
behind that.
If you're a hardcore fan and you didn't look it up, good on you. I'm proud of you. That's awesome that you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm trying not to look up stuff, but I mean, you do. But I mean, good on you. I am so proud of you for whoever didn't know because they didn't look it up. And hats off. Now, one more thing I want to say on this scene. With them talking about reinserting them into different timelines and you can be whoever you want, this felt like the exact same philosophy from The Matrix. You can reinsert me in The Matrix. I can be rich. I can be an actor. I don't want to remember anything. And that's what I felt like. Although, they changed the rules on it a little bit later, but I felt like that was definitely the inspiration, what she was offering.
Sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not that interesting, I know, but that was what hit me right there. Okay, so scene 3, Ravonna gets the files. We hit this just a minute ago with Miss Minutes, giving her. You can read up on this, and guess when we're not going to learn about what goes on till next season because there was no payoff. Part of the irritation to me because it's like it was so obvious that I'm like, oh, they're not going to let us know. Okay.
Well, they have to give her something to do next season.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's going to have a pretty big part. And
I think she is too.
Go ahead. Set your ringtones for this. I was wrong. I guess Ravonna does not know Kang yet. I was pretty sure that she did.
I did too. So it was a nice surprise to be wrong. I was like, oh, she doesn't know.
Yeah.
This is cool.
I actually like being wrong on these. I really do.
Now we can look forward to her developing a relationship with Kang.
Which will be fun.
Because I still felt like there was something, or someone that was kind of, over her or whatever. But that's interesting.
Yeah, it just turns out she's just a culty true believer.
And that's what is going to be cool about her character going forward is now that we know that she didn't know anything and she wasn't really helping anyone the entire time, we know that she will go to any lengths to do what she feels is right for the TVA and the sacred timeline.
Yeah, it really
I felt like
I was for some good stuff.
Yeah, I felt like I was making an excuse for her now.
And on to scene 3, we have Kang. But before we do that, hey, Blythe, where'd you get that T-shirt?
No, I
got really
www.iheartgeekshow.com. You can go to the shop link on our website, and we have a good amount of T-shirts. We have the T-shirt you see here. We also have the T-shirt that I don't know where you are. Where you have
I'm above you. I'm directly above you.
But we also have the T-shirt that Dub is wearing there, the Geek Rock Star, with the little Hal, almost like a little Miss Minutes on your shoulder, telling you.
I didn't even think of that.
The secrets of time. So go to our website, find that shop link, and you can get one of these awesome T-shirts.
Outstanding. And if you are this far into the show, that means you're probably enjoying it. So if you can do us a quick favor, if you're watching us on YouTube, go down and hit the subscribe button, hit the like. That means the world to us. It helps out a lot. Okay, so scene 3, we have Kang. I was disappointed with the appearance change. I like him. I wanted that green-faced Kang.
I think we're gonna get that.
Yeah,
maybe.
we'll get it.
But this particular version is not.
This is
not
part
that
of my. Yeah, this is part of my thing today. Is that I get that this is not like the final form.
Mm-hmm.
This is a variant. This is right. I mean,
Most likely. But I mean, let's be honest. They cast a pretty good-looking actor. They don't want to cover that up with a lot of makeup because that's marketable.
Yeah.
It could be enhanced though, you
Did
know, like if
you-
that's what you're looking for, the tone.
Yeah.
Did you want your Thanos turn
Thanos.
slightly to the camera and give a little wink like we had at the end of Avengers, Dub? Is that what you
Yes.
wanted from your Kang?
I would have been happy with that, honestly. But and I say I am happy with how they gave us Kang. I thought I'm in love with this actor. He is brilliant. I love everything he's doing. And we'll go more into it as we go because some of the nuances he's using is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he's talented.
Yeah, he is. I think he's going to be the next Loki as far as a character that you shouldn't like, but you're going to love. I think, anyway.
I can't wait for him to go full evil because I cannot wait to see what he does with it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it starts out kind of like Willy Wonka-ish, you know, and you can tell he's a little off, you know,
Exactly.
but it's funny. And then by the end, I'm like, okay, he's creeping me out just a little bit, 'cause
Right.
Okay.
He gives you a little more.
I got to throw a theory out, and this can't be proven for a long time, but I do think that this is the Kang you get at the end of time, after he's learned all his lessons, after he's figured out how to not be scum and all the time, and he's figured out that evil may not. But when we're going to get these other variants, you're going to get Kang that hasn't learned his lessons yet.
Yeah,
So
he's
got to be. It's going to be a lot easier for him to go nuts and be full on evil and do the horrible things that Kang does. I think that's great.
You know what it also does that we've been talking through all these shows? It gives us another young Avenger in the form of Iron Lad is one of the variants of Kang.
Oh, really?
So it's yeah. Iron Lad is
Maybe.
a variant of Kang that he doesn't figure it out until later, but yeah, it's another potential lineup for the young Avenger.
I think we're seeing a lot of potentials, and don't get your hopes up on any of these now. I'm starting to look at because there's like 15 of them we've discussed.
There's a lot of young.
There's got to
Avengers.
give us like
There's
5
a lot, yeah.
tops.
No, for sure.
Now, I do have one question, and I want to know what you guys think. Now, he offered them coffee, and then he gave them 2 sugars because he knows is that because they've relived this moment a million times, or is that because all Lokis like their coffee with 2 sugars?
He
or
knows
because
what.
he already knew it was gonna. Oh,
Go ahead, Michelle. That's exactly what I was going to say. You go ahead.
because he already knew it was gonna happen. He already knew if he asked them, they would have said to.
Fair enough.
He
I
shows the papers that they
I
sign
know.
that show everything.
I'm
that's
trying
happened.
to add some intrigue that's not there.
The
So
only
that's all
thing-
good.
We're taking
You-
it away.
And I mean, like the thing is there is this in the scene. You literally see his face change when he's reached the point where he no longer knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They've got
And
to
we'll hit
that
that. We
point
are
in
going to
time.
talk about that as
And it's
we
not
go.
the coffee moment.
And my final thing I want to say on this scene, his office reminds me of Agatha's lair. It looks it's a bigger version without the ruins on it.
Did y'all catch the hidden Mickey behind him?
No.
Oh,
When he sits down, there's the big window behind him, which kind of looks like the Sorcerer Supreme window, but in the sanctuaries. But there's 2 smaller ones on either side.
good on you,
Hidden
Disney.
Mickey!
Good on
It's
you,
funny
Disney.
because I was checking out the windows because I thought
They
they
do
were
that.
cool, but I totally
Yeah.
missed that.
Now,
Hidden Mickey.
I don't know if anybody saw, I couldn't read it, but could anybody read whatever was on that chalkboard? There's something circles, and I know it's important, but
No,
I
it
can't
was-
read it.
I
think
kept
it was
trying
It's
to.
too dark.
Yeah, I
It's
kept
too
trying to
blurry and
pause it and see if I could read it. I don't think it's anything. I think it's just an like a random equation. But because they didn't, usually if something like that means anything, they put it into focus so you can pause it and look at it and read it. But it was never in focus.
Yeah.
It was always blurred. So I don't think it. I'm sure
It was
somebody
just-
will dissect it and
We'll
clean
figure
it
it out,
up
yeah.
and figure out
Yeah.
what it was. But
It's
So-
just a shopping list.
Scene 4, Mobius confronts Ravonna. This didn't feel like Mobius anymore. Was it? If I don't know if he was playing it different or if it's just my thoughts, it just felt different. Did anybody else get that, or was that just me?
he's a variant of Kang. He is the bad guy all along.
I hate you so much.
It was Mobius all along.
Mobius all along. I love it.
And then they set up something else for us, and aren't going to pay it off with the Fremont, Ohio scene. Okay,
No, that was just that was just her showing.
I
all
know
of
your
the-
secret. What? And then they don't tell you anything.
No, it's her showing them that they're all variants.
Yeah.
Because to them, all the other soldiers, Rovina is the head of the TVA, and she shouldn't have a variant, but they brought her to the place where she taught, or where she was a principal of the school. So
Yeah.
when
And that's
they
where the pen
see
came
the
from.
variant,
Okay, so that okay.
where they see the variant, then they know.
Okay,
she's a
I will buy
variant.
that. I'll buy into
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Because
makes
that's
sense
where,
to me.
that's the link to the pen and
Yeah.
all. Yeah. So
Okay. Scene 5. And here's when I start kind of losing a little bit of interest, even though it's interesting, but King goes talk for a while. It was monologue. It was bad guy monologuing. Even though I think he did a great job, but it was bad guy monologuing for way too long, I felt like.
Yeah, it had a purpose, though. I think, a lot, I think, came to light. I mean, that people like me probably wouldn't even know or understand about, everything. So I found it interesting just because it gave me a little more insight.
Yeah, it's exposition for. I mean, a lot of us as comic book fans know exactly what the multiverse is and how a multiverse plot is supposed to function. But there's people out there that I'm sure have heard the word multiverse, but absolutely have no idea about what it means. Yeah. So that's what it was. It was just them explaining.
It was an info dump, is what it was. Exactly. We call it info dump.
It was a lot.
What it was.
I'm not happy with the way they handled it. Again, didn't hate it.
No.
Because he did so well at it. But especially on my second watch, I'm just kind of like, done yet? Now, on my first watch, something really bothered me. And on my second watch, it made me kind of think. I don't know if you guys noticed, every 2 lines, Kang's accent changes. And I'm like, is this Star Wars? What are we doing here? Are we talking like this? And then like his entire diction, the way he talks about every 2 lines changes. Now I don't know.
There's a reason. Yeah, I think there's a reason.
I do too, and I'm trying to. I have my theories. And maybe it's because he's lived it so many times, and right now he's just acting it because he knows exactly what's going to happen. So he's just reading lines. So he's playing with it. That's my theory, because that changes at the end. But we'll get to that.
Here's my thought.
Okay.
And I could just be making this up and be drunk or something. It's after 5 when we're recording. I could be drunk. You don't know.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I think I'd have to skip ahead just a little bit. When he says, when you kill me, or if you kill me, it will unleash all of the variants of me.
Yeah.
I think all the variants of him are inside him.
That's a good thought.
And they're not all going to sound the same thing. So it's like
so he's like
almost
schizoid.
Like opening a portal or opening a hellmouth or opening Pandora's box and letting all of those things out. So that's why his accent fluctuates, because it depends on what life he's drawing on, what variant he's drawing on, what universe he's drawing on.
I'll buy that.
That's just the thought. That could just be total BS.
So is it King basically like there's many, right? There's like
there's now, yeah.
There is now, yeah.
Okay, and also just referring back to the history of the characters. So would that make sense that they would be sort of within, or are they external?
There's only one Kang in the
I don't know of a multiverse,
and he bounces.
Yeah. No,
he bounces from universe and timeline.
Yeah, he bounces. He doesn't have multiple.
Yeah.
Unless I've missed a whole bunch.
I think at this point there is a multiversal thing, because like I said before, he's Iron Lad.
So
yeah,
he's Iron Lad. He's like an Egyptian god or an Egyptian pharaoh.
Ramen Tut or something.
Yeah, he's the Kang from the 31st century, which is the purple and green one. I think it might be a time jump thing, or it might be a multiversal thing. Who knows?
Yeah. But I wasn't the only one that picked up on the accent thing, right?
It's not big.
I didn't notice.
I don't know. I noticed
Yeah.
it really bad the first time. The second time I started theorizing. So because it
don't.
couldn't have been an accident when I watched it on the second time. I'm like, no, that's not
It-
an accident.
It's not. It's not blatant.
It changes though. Next time you watch it, pay attention to his accent. Because I know you're gonna watch it one more time.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I know all of us in this group will. Because we're too nerdy. Okay, scene 6, Ravonna escapes. I think it's really interesting that Mobius still has faith in Ravonna. We can rebuild this together, even after everything she's done, and he's known that she knew all along. I think it's interesting, and if she didn't, she tried to kill him. So I mean, either way, I think it's kind of interesting that he still has faith in her.
Poor Mobius getting his butt kicked. It was funny.
That was a pretty good scene.
Yeah, that's the best fight scene we've had. Oh no, I'm sorry. Now, and one other thing I want to point out, which I think sets up, this is what I wanted set up for season 2. I wanted to see the other stuff. This I think could have been left in the air, because she goes, when she's leaving, she says, she's in search of free will. Earlier, she said the only free will that exists is he who is in control. And so she's going to search for free will. So she wants to go take control. That's the cliffhanger that I want. And they gave it to us, but that was the acceptable cliffhanger to me, if that makes sense.
I don't think that's enough of a cliffhanger to create an entire season.
Not everything, but that to me, that's the big one as far as Ravonna goes, because we have all those files we don't know about and whatever else.
Do you think that those files were the actual? I know he said that after a certain point he didn't know what was going to happen, but you think that he did, and that's what he sent her?
Or did Miss Minutes know?
Because, Miss Minutes said he thinks that this will be more helpful for you. So whatever she requested, she didn't get, but she got what Kang thought would be more helpful for what she's supposed to do. So I wonder if he knew he was gonna. I don't know.
Or maybe he knows that in one of his timelines he's supposed to end up with her.
Sure.
So because she helps him
quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Again, this is where I was trying to hold on to my excitement at this point. So if I'm negative at this point, it's just because that's where I was emotionally at this. And I say, and by the time I'm on the last episode, I'm done theorizing. I don't want to have to think, okay, well, then what does this mean? Because I figure that most of the theorizing should have been done by now. And that's me. So that's part of where I'm coming from on this point. Okay, so scene 7. We got the history lesson, and this is when King calls himself the Conqueror, taking away any question that, yes, this is King the Conqueror. Some people call me a jerk, and I think that was interesting. And as far as when he pulls up his claymation people, very similar to Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that he is probably the best and the worst of the timelines. He's directly in the middle. I think that if he would have been the worst, he would have been destroyed. If he would have been the best, he would have been destroyed. I think he is the direct middle. He is the moderate of the King, and that's who you need. And we're going to find out later on why we don't want the extremes of either side. So what did you guys think about the history lesson? Did you guys pick up anything on this or anything?
I think for me, and we talked about this in the first episode, when you guys mentioned the Secret Wars and how we thought that the Secret Wars had already happened. I don't think the Secret Wars have happened. I think they're going to happen. And that's part of why this episode excited me, was not just that we're getting the multiverse, but that there's going to be a war of the Kangs. And I think I theorize that each Kang is going to pick a champion from these different timelines, and they're going to put them on Battle World, and then we're going to get a Secret Wars.
Lies, can you give us a 30-second for those who don't know? What is Secret Wars? Give us about a 30-second.
So Secret Wars is kind of what I just described, except it's not Kang. It's a different character, but basically this character picks a champion across the multiverse of all the different Marvel characters that you love. We have Captain America, we have Hulk, we have Iron Man, we have Spider-Man, Miles Morales, all these different characters.
Lady Thor is one that
Lady
ends
Thor
up fighting in it too.
in the newest Secret Wars that had just come out. They've had 2 versions of it now. But they're all put on the same planet and they're told to have a battle royale, and the last one standing is the victor. And then of course they figure out a way not to have to kill
now. if you have Disney Plus, there's a really good on Spider-Man, the animated, the Marvel Spider-Man, the one from the 90s. Go check that out. It's in the last season. It's called Secret Wars, and it actually has Spider-Man going to a different planet with all sorts of different, the reptile and a bunch of different characters, and you can kind of see how that works on a very small scale. If you want to learn more about that, just to make it really easy, because it's I think it's 4 parts, and it's an easy, fun watch. Now you can, what we talked about earlier, you can see the point that when King runs out of knowledge, this is when I got to give him props as an actor. His whole demeanor changes. That's when his the accent stops, and that's why I felt like it was on purpose, because he is straight through for the rest of the time. He has the exact same voice for the rest of the time. I think that was, it's like he hasn't rehearsed these lines a million times because he doesn't know what they are. I think he's rehearsed the other lines before. That was my theory. I don't know if that was but no, I think that scene was just really, that moment, I mean, you could just see it in his eyes, everything changed. I thought that was actually really beautiful how they did that.
Yeah, he did a really good
It's
job.
just a testament to the talent of the actor.
Yeah. So do you feel like all our viewers, on both sides of the spectrum, understood what was going on at that point? Do you think they explained it well enough?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, if it made sense to me and it helped me understand it, I'm gonna say,
yeah.
And to say that wasn't a slam. That was, I'm just kind of hoping that everyone understands what's going on it.
Yeah, and I agree with Bly's. I think they're setting up Secret Wars.
Yeah,
and we know that
Joe
and Anthony Russo have already said that they won't come back for another MCU bout unless it's Secret Wars.
There you go. I think seeing Loki and Sylvie debate on the decision for the rest of the universe was pretty amazing, actually. The war of logic. I can't be trusted, and you can't trust anybody.
And that's
trust
the
me.
line.
Oh,
that's
that
the
line.
line that made me go, okay, that's this shows what
love is love if not pain or whatever.
Grief persevering.
That's the one.
Yep. It's like, you can't trust and I can't be trusted. It was a great line, and Hiddleston delivered it really well.
And again, Hiddleston, our Loki at this point, has truly changed. He changed last episode. We knew it, and then when he put himself dropped his sword and put himself in between King and her, it's like, oh my gosh, that is really amazing how they did that.
Yeah.
I think that Sylvie killing King was kind of anticlimactic because you just knew it was going to happen. That was me. Did anybody else not see it coming? I didn't think there was a decision once Loki was gone. I'm like, that's it.
I thought she was going to. I knew she was going to kill him, but I thought they were going to do the. You know how they said that some Lokis have certain powers and other Lokis have different powers. I thought she was going to Coulson him when she was standing in front of Loki and he was behind Loki at the desk. I thought she was going to disappear and then reappear right behind him and then stab him through his chair, through the chest, and like showing that not only did he pick up her ability to enchant, but she also picked up his ability to like jump.
Yeah. And on a more morbid, would you have been okay if she would have stabbed him through Loki and killing them both?
I would have been okay with that.
I would have been, because we have a multiverse of Lokis. Even though we love this Loki, I don't know how much longer this actor has. So I think that would have been a very interesting end. But then again, I wouldn't watch season 2 without Hiddleston, though. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
I would have been. That would have been a seriously emotional moment for me, though, because, like you said, he has changed so much. He has grown so much. He's actually learned to trust and to love and all these things, which in life itself is amazing. And then, oh, here we go, stab you, you're done. Like,
do you want a good guy? Do you want a good guy Loki to follow? It's not as much fun.
Well, he's the Loki that we had by Infinity War.
Yeah.
That Loki that sacrificed himself to make sure that the ship blew up to defend his brother, which Sylvie's his brother at this point. Like, he knows how to love and he knows how to care for another human being. So they did 10 years of movie evolution of a character in 6 episodes. He became the Loki that we all know.
That's fair. And before we get to this last scene, the kiss. So I read that some people are flipping out about it. Why?
It's self-cessed.
Oh well.
My narcissistic romance.
Do you think Loki's can love anybody else more than he loves himself? No. So that works out very well. But again, this is something that people are flipping out about. I'm like, why? I wish
My problem
Tony's
with it.
thought on it right now.
My problem with it was not that it was Loki kissing Loki, because if Loki's gonna fall in love with anybody, it's gonna be himself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. My problem is it felt over dramatic. It felt very melodramatic, and I'm saying
they wanted it to.
But I'm saying this as a woman that used to write romance novels. It was too much.
It was too dramatic for the Hallmark Channel, so it was too dramatic for Courtney.
It was over. It was melodramatic, and it didn't feel earned, because there were other places where a kiss would have felt more earned. It didn't feel earned here.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's the other reason because I don't, the kiss,
when they were about to fight Goliath, that would have actually been the better spot for the kiss.
The kiss, no, actually there were other places. The kiss doesn't bother me at all. It's the timing of it and how it didn't really fit the moment. Yeah, but that's just me personally. So
no, I just, but that's not the panic on it. And I'm like, but I don't even look at Sylvie as I know she is a Loki, but at this point, you've seen how different they are. They have the similarities, but you see how different they are. And you look at them as two very different characters at this point, and it even proves it at the end with what happens.
Yeah. But she's tried so hard to take herself as far off that Loki, path or whatever as she could. So she is quite separated from it, I think. But I mean, are people flipping out because of the simple fact it was with another Loki, or were people like some of us talking about how maybe there was like a paternal type thing? Was it just awkward? Like,
well, this does answer the question on it. Is that his daughter?
Well, yeah. In fact, it's funny. I was sitting there. I'm like, well, okay. Now
well, if not, Disney Plus has a lot to answer for.
They're very progressive.
Mickey, you got some explaining.
That's not progressive.
Do.
That's gross.
No,
I think we can throw all that away at this point. That's all. That's all in the garbage.
Goodness,
at this point. It's not the daughter. Honestly, I was looking at headlines because I didn't want to, before the show, I don't like to get too much of everyone else's opinion because what's the point of me regurgitating everyone else's thoughts? Okay, so scene 8, they got me. I did not guess this was a different TVA at all until that last line. I'm like, and even though Mobius was acting different, he was acting different in the office. So I was like, okay, what?
Like, I thought he was just stressed out.
Did Sylvie do it on purpose, or did she just send her to the first available spot?
I mean,
and I think that's the question we have.
Would she have had the the knowledge or the ability to
Oh,
determine
yeah.
where they went.
She's had one for years.
Yeah.
She was
It's a
able to find
different.
the
It's a
end of
different kind of temp pad.
maybe.
That's right. That's
it's
right.
a different kind of temp pad than she's used to. She could pick everything there. That one is a circular disc that just looks like.
She definitely identified
lava
it as a
flowing
temp
through
pad,
it.
though.
Well, it's because he moves like he has a temp pad. I mean, that was pretty obvious.
I kind of think
it's a big surprise.
I kind of think she did it on purpose because she didn't want.
No, I think she just threw him in the first available one. But I also think that the other Kang timelines were coming before this Kang died, because I think he knew it was coming.
Oh, it was already.
I think that was part of his. We've reached the end of time. I know what's going on. I don't know what's going on now. I think that's where it was.
Yeah.
And they didn't get me because Hunter B-15 is on the other timeline. But now she's standing next to Mobius.
She could have went.
Yeah.
She could have moved through time.
Yeah.
No, I figured they were going to throw him into
time
a different.
travel.
Yeah, but I figured they were going to throw him into
Everyone's
a different time.
doing it.
I didn't look that deep into it.
Well,
they got, and I say I appreciate that they got me.
Yeah, I figured they were going to throw him into a different timeline.
No, they got me too, Dub. Don't worry. I was like, oh snap, that's not him. This one probably doesn't love jet skis, and it makes me sad.
Oh,
why do you have to go there,
you
man?
you just collectively broke the hearts of everybody that watches.
All we want is
that's what's really making
jet ski.
Yeah, that's what's making everybody really, or what's really making everybody mad is the jet ski thing. They just
Owen Wilson never got his jet ski.
Next season, do you think we get an army of Mobiuses?
No,
alligator Mobius.
that I'll be down with. But see, and again, they gave us so many questions with alligator Loki and didn't tell us what happened.
I don't even know. I just know
what he is. It's just a variant of Loki that's an alligator.
They brought in questions on that though. We've never taken
the only question was, is it a crocodile or an alligator? That was the question.
You know what? If you want the question, go back and listen to last week.
It was a Komodo dragon.
Go listen to last week. We discussed it last week.
Dub's like, what is this alligator-based universe?
You're right.
Well,
it was total misdirection, and everyone just fell for it.
Yeah, you know what?
It was just a cute little variant. That's what that was.
I think there's more to it.
I think everybody wanted it to be like, a baby Yoda or Groot or something, and everyone was all
really
easy about it.
What it is that's another member of the Pet Avengers.
Oh, which does sadly exist.
We have Alligator Loki. We have Cosmo from Guardians.
We have Beta Ray Bill.
Lockjaw.
Yeah, we've got Lockjaw. We shouldn't have Lockjaw though. Let's not talk about that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
sorry. And then
sorry.
we have the post-credit scene. Loki season 2.
That's not really a post-credit scene.
It's not, but it's something different. If that was a surprise to anybody, I got some stuff to sell you.
I got some beachfront property in Arizona for you.
I think everybody saw that one coming. So let's wrap up this season real quick. So let's do our grades. Now we're gonna have 2 different grades here. We're gonna have our grade for the series, and then our grade for this last episode. Let's do the last episode first, and then our grade for the series. And you got 30 seconds to justify whatever it is that you graded. Let's start with Michelle.
Don't start with me. Don't start. With me.
I can feel you saying it, so
Okay. Last episode, I'm gonna have to go down a little bit. I mean, like I said, I was just sort of ho-hum through pretty much everything. I think the only part that really got me, that I enjoyed, was watching the transition with Kang going from, Willy Wonka to minor creepy dude. So visually, I really enjoyed, seeing the timeline and everything, and that was great. So I'm saying probably I'm going to go with a B on this one.
And the series. Oh, I know what Blythe is going to do. So yeah.
It's going to kill me. I'm going to say the whole series, I'm going to give an A-.
Very good. Go ahead, Blythe. Give us your obligatory A+.
It's actually I give the series a C-, and I give the
Only you would do this. Yes.
no, I mean it's A+ all the way. The series was great for me from start to finish, and for me the last episode was an A+ because not because of Loki the series, but because of what we talked about. It's Secret Wars, it's the multiverse, it's everything that is going to be leading up to giant battle royale on Battle World with Hydra Cap leading the charge.
Yeah, no. And can you pass me the Marvel flavored Kool-Aid that you keep drinking?
I'll give it to you in buckets, buddy. Don't bother me none.
Because we know you swim in it. Okay, Miss Courtney.
I also swim in the Marvel Kool-Aid, and I drink it, but I have to be fully honest with everybody. I'm going to give this episode a B because the writer in me wanted more stuff to happen, not just action, but more payoff in the writing.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to give the entire series a B because honestly, you guys, this hasn't been my favorite series of the 3 that they've given us. I think it's been kind of go ahead, listeners, go ahead and dump on me all you want. I can take it. I can handle it.
They're gonna yell at me, not you. Trust me.
I think it's been somewhat lackluster throughout. Not saying I didn't enjoy it. I didn't think it was great, and I everybody should watch it because it's a great lead up to what's coming. It was a great connector to WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I'm gonna go with a B. It just wasn't my favorite of the 3 series we've seen so far.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
I'm giving the last episode, because of the multiple reasons that I said earlier, C+. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. I just wanted more, and I felt bored, and I shouldn't, especially with how much I've enjoyed this series, I should not have felt bored. The series, I know I've said A the whole time, but I'm going to probably go to like a B+ because it's far from perfect. The fight scenes were incredibly lackluster. I think there is room for improvement. Will I watch the next season? I will be first in line.
Sign me up.
Am I going to watch the whole thing again? At least twice. With that being said, it wasn't perfect. And yeah, it wasn't. But I enjoyed it. And that's kind of why we do these, because we enjoy them. And that's why I'm going to be fair on my grading, because I want to.
Well, and I think I've said this. I may have said this to Blythe, and I may have said this to Dub. I don't know. Even Marvel's, I don't want to use the term mediocre because it's not mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
But even Marvel's not so amazing is still better than a lot of the stuff that we get from DC and other places.
Stop it.
We could have fights for this, but DC stuff is terrible. Except for some of the TV shows.
I just love that I'm not allowed to retort on that. But go ahead. Yes.
You are allowed to retort. You retort all the time.
That's all you do is
retort.
I never get to retort.
You never stop the retorting. But I digress. Yeah, it's Marvel's not so amazing. You know, this, or in Dub's case, Black Widow and Captain Marvel, or the second Thor. They're not, you know, they're not Winter Soldier. They're not Black Panther. They're not WandaVision, but they're still really good and really enjoyable. And so I think the other thing is, at least in my case, we're spoiled because it's so good. Mm-hmm. And like I've said to Dub, the fight scenes in this are not great, but we're also spoiled from some amazing fight scenes.
Let's be honest, they're not good in these.
Yeah, in the Marvel universe, we have the elevator fight in Winter Soldier. We have the stairwell fight
Daredevil.
In Daredevil.
The 10-minute cut in Punisher.
Yeah, in Punisher. In Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's that end fight between the 3 of them. You know, it's like we're spoiled when it comes to fight scenes, and so these didn't quite live up to it.
So this will be the last thing I say, but think about this. maybe it's intentional that those fight scenes weren't the greatest.
It's very possible.
That's drinking a lot of Kool-Aid right there.
It's not, though, because listen to every single fight scene that you just named off and that you agreed with her. Daredevil is a ninja. Captain America is an enhanced super soldier. All of these fight scenes that you just described are done by characters who are fighters. Loki isn't a fighter.
Loki is a god that learned how to fight growing up with Thor.
But Loki's not a god. He's just old.
Okay.
That's the whole thing.
Whatever it is. He's whatever Thor is.
He does. I mean,
he's not, though. He's not what Thor is.
because he's a frost giant.
He's a frost giant, but they grew up
He's not
together.
an Asgardian.
Exactly. So he's not. He has skills in combat, but there's a reason why he sneaks up behind people and stabs them, because he's not a fighter.
Yeah, and I could get behind that completely, but across the board, because we also had the fight scene, in like episode 2 with
no, that's
the TVA, the C15 or whatever her name is.
Yeah,
where they do holding out for a hero. And she was a terrible fighter. But I mean, the thing is Sylvie is a fighter. Like, that's her whole thing. When she escaped from the TVA, she learned how to fight. So even her should have been better. But I can actually get behind with what you're saying. But that's why I also said that we're also spoiled by amazing fight choreography in Marvel. And so maybe I expected too much, because they keep giving me so many wonderful fight scenes.
Sure.
Like the fight scenes in Black Widow are phenomenal. But again, she's an assassin.
They're all assassins.
Okay. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, but no one's going to, so it's all good. Let's see, the next special episodes we're going to have out will be What If, and those are coming next month. And we have a special comic book creator coming on next week with a couple of us, so we'll talk to y'all then. Until next time, I'm Dub. I'm here with Michelle. I'm here with Courtney. I'm here with Blythe. Keep on geeking on, guys.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.